Good evening. Here is the world news from BGI TV, Baba Gagede Imo Television. I am yours faithfully, Moriwe Rebila Lawa. First are the major headlines for the world news. Elders back 10 years jail term for stealing cows in Ondo. Fake prophet arrested in Edo. Gunmen invite shoots hotelier dead in Delta community. 2023. Don't vote politicians crying, frying akara, eating corn during campaign. Primates Ayodele to Nigerians. Army couple killing. Igbo youth advise security agencies and intelligence gathering. Grant Nnamdi Kanu freedom as a forgiving father. Igbo leaders beg Buhari. Allow court decide Nnamdi Kanu's matter. Buhari replies Southeast leaders. To foreign story, UK bars IPOP orders from seeking asylum. Still on foreign, Russia continues assault on Mariupol's Azov-style plants. And sport finally, Eagles World Cup ouster still odds are Monique. Now the news in detail. Two persons, Abdullahi Ibrahim 26 and Dauda Mohammed 22, have been sentenced to 10 years in prison by an Odigwe magistrate court for stealing 3 cows worth 900,000 naira in Ondo State. The magistrate D.O. Ogunfuyi found the two guilty and sentenced them accordingly based on their guilty pleas. In his decision, Ogunfuyi condemned the fourth defendant to 3 years in prison on count 1 and 2 years on count 2, while the second defendant was sentenced to 3 years in prison on count 1 and 2 years on count 2. According to the charge sheet, the defendants Ibrahim Mohammed and Tajuddin Adiamut conspired to take and receive stolen goods on April 27, 2022 at midnight in Sabo, Odubo town in the Ore Magisterial District. Section 516390 of 9 and 427 of the Criminal Code Cap 37 Volume 1, Laws of Ondo State of Nigeria 2006 prohibits the offenses. When the charge was read to the fourth and second defendant, who did not have legal representation, they pleaded guilty to the offenses, but the third defendant pleaded not guilty. The police command in Edo State said it has arrested a man masquerading as a prophet to defraud members of the public. The command disclosed this in a statement on Thursday in Benin City by its public relations officer, SP Kotongs Bello. Bello said that the suspect arrest followed a petition by one of his victims, Mr. Thompson Osamu Diame, to the Commissioner of Police in the state, CP Abutu Yaro. He explained that the victim had complained that he was hypnotized by the suspect who collected his car. According to the victim, the suspect, under the guise of prophet, claimed he saw him in a vision where he had an accident with his Lexus ES350 car. He also said the suspect told him that to avert the accident, he should use the car to sow seed to the Lord, which he did. The victim said that after he returned to his senses, he noticed that the suspect had already changed the color of the car from gold to black and was already using it, Bello explained. The police spokesperson who disclosed that 2 Lexus cars, ES350 and RX350, were recovered from the suspect during a search of his residence, said the suspect had confessed to the crime and will be charged to court soon. Gunmen have shot dead one Chief Tope Edijana, a hotelier based in Agbaho community in Ugeli North local government area of Delta State. The deceased was killed by the gunmen who invited him from Topeski Global Hotel located along Agbaho and Ugeli Expressway through a telephone call from his hotel to his house. It was learned that the gunman shot him 3 times on his legs and ribs after a brief conversation. The Delta State Police Relations Officer, DSP Bright Edafe, in a telephone chat with correspondent, confirmed the incident that led to the gruesome murder of the hotelier. The late Edijana left behind his wife, Mrs. Ase Edijana, Ugeli North Local Government Council Chairperson, candidates under the platform of All Progressive Congress APC after the last Delta State local government election, and children. The leader of INRI, Evangelical Spiritual Church, Primates Elijah Ayodele, on Friday frowned at the attitude of some Nigerian politicians vying for political offices in the 2023 general elections. Primates Ayodele warned Nigerians against voting for any politicians that are seen crying, frying bean cake on the road, or engaging in unusual activities during their campaign. The man of God described them as deceivers, that won't do any good for Nigeria. Referring to a politician who was seen crying during the week after some people presented a nomination form, Idly stressed that such was a gimmick to make sympathy votes. The man of God noted that certain politicians could not point to 1 million lives he has taught since he has been in power and therefore doesn't deserve to be bought a nomination form of 20 million naira. In case you're just joining, you are watching the world news from BGI TV. Ohaneze Youth Council, OYC, the Apex Igbo Youth Socio-Cultural Organization, has lamented the gruesome murder of an army couple by bandits allegedly sympathetic to the agitations of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB. This was even as the pro-Biafra group had said it was not involved in the beheading of the couple and also said that whoever carried out the act will be punished. Though the Post recalls that the Nigerian army had alleged that its officers were beheaded by the IPOB after the wedding in Imo State. A statement by IPOB's Media and Publicity Secretary, Emma Powerful, called on Igbo ancestors to avenge such wickedness of killing in an Igbo daughter and her husband. The Igbo youth maintained that the people of the Igbo nation do not support the extrajudicial killings of anyone, be such a victim Igbo or non-Igbo, as an act of murder and terrorism is condemnable, insisting that those behind such acts deserve the heaviest and speediest wrath of the law to descend upon them. So, another story. Leaders in the southeast have appealed to President Muhammadu Buhari to release the detained leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu. They made the plea on Friday at a meeting with the president, who is on a 2-day visit to Ebonyi State. The chairman of the Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, and the southeast, Reverend Father Abraham Nwali, made the plea on behalf of the southeast leaders in his address at the Ebonyi State Stakeholders Forum held at the government house in Abakaliki, the state capital. We plead for a political solution that, as a father, a kind father, and a forgiving father, to grant Nnamdi Kanu freedom, he said. We say that he should be granted pardon, and we call on all agitators to cease all forms of hostilities and rather demand a nation where the plight of the people, the weak, the oppressed, will be addressed. So another story, the president, Major General Muhammadu Buhari, retired, has told Southeast leaders that the court will determine the fate of the indigenous people of Biafra's leader, Nnamdi Kanu. He said these during the meeting with leaders from the region at the new government house in Abakaliki, capital of the state. The Igbo leaders had pleaded with Buhari to release Kanu and Igbo other youths in detention across the country. The Igbo leaders made the plea in an address during a meeting with Buhari at the Executive Council Chambers, new government house, Abakaliki, capital of Ebonyi State. Chairman of the Southeast Traditional Rulers Council, Eze Charles Umpuma, read the address. The Punch had reported that Buhari on Thursday commenced a 2-day working visit to Ebonyi with the inauguration of projects at King David University of Medical Sciences, Uburu. The president's aircraft landed at Akanu International Airport, Enugu, at about 10 a.m. on Wednesday. To a foreign story, authorities in the United Kingdom have excluded members of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, and some other secessionists from seeking asylum in their country. In its updated asylum policy published in May and cited by Channels Television, the UK explained that it took the decision as a result of the recent activities of such people as reported in Nigeria. According to Britain, Nigerian authorities have since proscribed IPOB as a terrorist group, while the movement for the actualization of the sovereign state of Biafra, MASOP, has also been banned, but not designated the same status as the former. IPOB is proscribed as a terrorist group by Nigerian government, and members of the group and its paramilitary wing, the Eastern Security Network, created in December 2020, have reportedly committed human rights violations in Nigeria, the document said. The UK stated that any person excluded from the Refugee Convention would also be excluded from the grant of humanitarian protection. To another foreign story as well. Ukraine said Friday that Russia is pressing on with assault operations on the Azovstal steel plant in Mariupol, where it keeps remaining soldiers defending the battered port city and civilians are holed up. The blockade of Ukraine forces in the Azovstal area continues, said a Kiev army spokesman in a video. In some areas with aviation support, there are resumed assault operations to take control of the plant. The statement came after Kiev said another civilian evacuation from the Azovstal plant was planned for Friday. The Russian army had announced a 3-day ceasefire at the plant starting Thursday to allow civilians to leave, but the Ukrainian commander said Moscow's forces had violated that promise. And finally, sports story. Over a month after the Super Eagles failed to qualify for the Qatar 2022 World Cup, Emmanuel Amunike, ex-assistant coach of the team, says he is yet to overcome the trauma of missing from the football showpiece in Asia. The Eagles played out Ghana in the final round of the playoff but lost 1-1 on aggregate on the away goal rule to miss out of the competition for the first time in 16 years. Speaking with a punch, Amunike said, "When it comes to football, I'm passionate about it and I'm equally passionate about my job. I pray I'm in position to bring back a smile to the faces of Nigerians because we are all sad missing the World Cup. There will always be better days, but we just need to learn from the previous lessons and see how we can do better." Before we go on the world news, a quick recap of the headlines once again. Elders back 10 years jail term for stealing cows in Ondo. Fake prophets arrested in Edo State. Gunmen invite shots hotelier dead in Delta community. We also brought to you grants Nnamdi Kanu freedom as a forgiving father. Igbo leaders beg Buhari. Allow court decide Nnamdi Kanu's matter. Buhari replies Southeast leaders. And to foreign story. UK bars IPOB, orders from seeking asylum. Russia continues assault on Mariupol's Azovstal plant. And finally, sport. Eagles World Cup outstar still odds and Munike. For more updates on our YouTube channel, the handle is Baba Bagede Imo TV. Kindly subscribe and click on the notification bell to access all of our broadcasts on YouTube. On Facebook, Bagede Imo with Alawi Adebayo. Please like and follow the page for you to access our broadcast as well. On Instagram, Bagede Imo _22. For advertisement of goods and services, coverage of events and functions, both outdoors, the phone number streaming on your screen is a direct line to call strictly for advert placements. Thank you for watching. I am Mori Rebila Lawal. Good evening.
Oh, na, na, na. If you want to know what's going on in city, or you want to listen to the latest news and gist, no stress, oh, just tune to BGI TV. BGI TV.